Today on the bench, I want to tie you up Don's Crusher Chironomid. As you saw on the show, the fish loved it and we used it throughout the whole year and it was a very effective pattern. So make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. For the hook, we'll use a size 16 2x long curved, some 8/0 blue dun thread to tie with. We'll use a 3/32 inch brown magic bead for the bead, some white breather yarn for the gills. For the body, we'll use some brown anti-static bag, some fine red wire for the rib, and some copper nano silk for the thorax. So to start the fly off, I put the bead onto the hook with the wide side towards the eyelet. Just going to take some fine black thread and tie it on behind the eyelet. Then I take a strand of my breather yarn, pull it up through my thread, take a couple of wraps, whip finish off my black thread, and then I'm going to bring the bead up over that breather yarn. Once the bead is over the breather yarn, I'm going to pull that tight and cut it fairly short for the gills. Now I'm going to take my blue dun thread and I'm going to start it behind the bead. Take a few wraps just to get a bit of a base layer tied in. Now I'm going to take my bronze anti-static bag and my red wire. I'm going to tie them in right behind the bead, wrap it in, and then I'm just going to take wraps to tie them both in on the side of the hook all the way back to the hook bend. Now I'm going to take my thread and wrap it back to the eyelet just to form a slight tapered body on the fly. Now I'm going to take my bronze anti-static bag and I'm going to wrap it in to form the body. And I want to cover most of the thread. You know, if you have a few spots of thread showing, that's okay. But just wrap this to form the body all the way to the bead. Now that the body's tied in, I've taken my red wire and I'm going to form about, take about 6 to 7 turns to form a rib on the fly. And just windmill off at the top to get rid of the wire. Now I'm going to take my whip finisher and just finish off my blue dun thread and cut it off. Now I'm going to take my copper nano silk, take a few wraps behind the bead, and just whip finish just a couple of times to form the thorax on the fly. Now to get rid of any loose thread from that nano silk, I'm just going to protect my gills with my finger and just run a torch on there and just burn off any excess thread. Now I'm going to take my white paint marker and I'm just going to form a white spot right on the top to go along with the gills. So I'll have the gills and the white bead on top, or the white mark on top. Now to finish the fly off, I've taken you can take UV coating or I use the Loctite. I'm going to coat the fly to give it a nice coating so it lasts for a few fish. So there it is, Don's Crusher Chironomid. You know, the key ingredients in this fly was the brown magic bead with the new breather yarn for the gills, which is very effective, and that white dot. I don't know why it was so effective. All I know is it works, so make sure you have some for your fly box.